Hey guys, Bugcat7 here. Okay, it is Wednesday, May 1st, 2019, and I want to thank you for visiting the Stonewall Research channel here on YouTube. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. And if you guys do like the video, please do hit the like button, guys. It's very helpful and it supports the channel. Okay guys, well, I got a fascinating video for you today, and it's about the stone circles, these Stonehenges that occur across the world. And I'm going to read an article done by Hugh Newman of Megalithomania fame from 2018. Now, I came across this article while doing my own research into sites that referred to themselves as Stonehenges. And one of them was this site in Peru called the Parque Arqueológico del Solsticio. And that's called the Amazon Stonehenge, or the Brazilian Stonehenge. And it has, these type of features in there. We're going to look at it more later. But you see these, megalithic standing stones, and you can see this one has a hole in it, okay? And I just found it interesting, and I didn't know anything about this site. It's in Brazil, along the Amazon, in the Amazon region. And I was also, while doing that, I ran into the Karahunj Observatory, which is this site in Armenia. And this is an endangered site. And there's some similarities here between these sites that we need to discuss. And it just so happens that Hugh Newman mentions both of these sites in his article here. But for some reason, and I don't understand why or how, but he missed a couple of important aspects of those two sites. He mentions at the end of the article this relationship between South American Stonehenges and Neolithic work and Stonehenge in the UK. But somehow he missed this, and that's my research, and as well as, I hope that you guys know anyway, that, this channel is about my own research. I may read articles and all that kind of stuff, but, as you hear in many of my videos that I produce, I always relate a lot of stuff back to my own research, other research. I mean, I'm well-read, well-researched in a lot of these areas, especially the ones that I concentrate on. And, I have to mention those things. So we're going to add to Hugh's article here, which is just fascinating. The things he points out in this article I didn't know. And he points out some very, very interesting things. So I'm going to read the article as fast as I can because I want to get to the other stuff. The two sites and what my, relationship is there that I found out doing my research, and some other things that are relative to it that Hugh doesn't mention. And, maybe because of brevity, whatever. There's other interesting things at these sites, but he doesn't mention it because he's concentrating on the circles themselves. Okay, so let's get into it again from 2018, his article, Hugh Newman of Megalithomania fame, Megalith Studies in Stone. Okay. Stone circles conjure up a lost world of mysterious ceremonies, druid astronomers, pagan dances, and inquisitive antiquarians. The most famous is Stonehenge in Wiltshire, UK, but is also the most unusual in that it has lintels and trilithons in its design. Most stone circles are not so glamorous, but given that over 1,000 of them dated between 3500 BC and 1500 BC, according to this standard mainstream timeline, if you agree with that, have been found in the British Isles alone. Their construction was evidently an important part of our ancient culture. Stonehenge is also known for its summer solstice sunrise, and research over the last 60 years has shown that many other circles not only use sky and landscape alignments to mark astronomical events, but also share geometrical forms and measurement systems. Whoever made these magnificent structures had a deep understanding of engineering, surveying, geometry, metrology, acoustics, and astronomy. And they were not an isolated group of builders, as we shall see. As we will see, stone circle building was once a global endeavor, okay? So it could be, and what he's implying, that this is a shared knowledge, as I've mentioned before in my videos, that, going back even into the Stone Age, okay, in Neolithic times, okay, maybe even back to the Paleolithic times, we don't know, but you have these similarities. Seems to be like a shared knowledge, even up until polygonal construction, other megalithic construction. There seems to be this shared knowledge that went on and on and on for centuries and millennia that we don't know anything about because we don't know what the history is. Okay? So, here's a picture of the infamous Stonehenge that you've seen a million times. Okay. Göbekli Tepe, Stone Circle Genesis. 6,500 years before Stonehenge was constructed, a vast megalithic complex was flourishing near present-day Sendirfa, southeast Turkey. Göbekli Tepe is at least 12,000 years old, and its preserved stone circles are the oldest in the world. The ones so far uncovered exhibit impressive degrees of technical and artistic skill. Like Stonehenge, the monoliths were erected in circular arrangements and oriented to particular areas of the sky. The world's first stone circle complex is rewriting history books, okay? So that's what they're saying about Göbekli Tepe. And there's a couple things here. First of all, with Stonehenge, they rebuilt that, so a lot of people are dubious about, did they put it back together right? What were they doing, et cetera, et cetera. I'm always suspicious of those things too. And I don't think they have Göbekli Tepe right, not 100%. The things that are said about it, and here's these strange marks, cup marks on the top of the stone. Who's going to get into it? Like later sites around the world, astronomical alignments are evident. Figures depicted on the vulture stone may be the earliest representation of zodiacal and other constellations, including Cygnus. Our earliest surviving buildings, therefore, seem to be an early observatory built to track precession. The 25,800-year cycle of the pole stars. Okay, maybe, maybe not, but I think, there's more to be got out of these things. Yet. Acoustics and ellipses. It has been noted that the enclosures at Göbekli Tepe are roughly 4:3 ratio ellipses. That's very interesting. Early stone ellipses seem to have been constructed using Pythagorean triangles. At least 30 examples have been recorded in Britain, including Corby Sands in Aberdeenshire, Postbridge in Devon, and Daviet in the Highlands of Scotland. The great megalithic ring and mound of Masura in Morocco is also an ellipse that we will discuss shortly. The 4:3 ratio is a harmonic fourth, one of the great harmonies of acoustics. In his book, The Cygnus Key, Andrew Collins suggests the enclosures were designed with this in mind. Maybe. Hard to say, but, these guys got to write books and stuff, I don't know. Collins has said that the place was buried, and other people say it's buried. I don't believe it's buried. I believe it was covered by one of the many, many floods and many, many catastrophes this planet has endured. British Stone Circle in Morocco. In Morocco, a remote ring called Masura sits near Asila, near the northwest coast. Located about 18 miles from the Phoenician ruins of Lixus, it is a huge ellipse of 168 surviving stones of an original 175, the tallest of which is 17 feet, 5 meters. Its major axis is 195 feet, 59.29 meters, wide by 185 feet, 56.18 meters. A massive part excavated tumulus was a later addition that sits in its center. It encodes similar geometry and metrology to many British stone circles. Okay, so Masura incredibly appears to have been constructed by either by the same culture that erected the megalithic sites in France, Britain, and Ireland, or by one that was intimately connected with them. Okay, this is in Morocco, right? Pretty far away from those places. Cup marks. Unusual cup marks on the bedrock and on top of some of the oldest pillars at Göbekli Tepe prefigure British cup marks by thousands of years. This is a tradition that is found throughout the Fertile Crescent, all over the British Isles and Atlantic Europe. I recently investigated two American examples, both which are petroglyph sites in Nevada, the 7000 BC Grimes Point site and the 12,800 BC Winnemucca site. These are called cupules, which are concave depressions in the rock. Their presence at Göbekli Tepe has triggered many questions, not only as to what their purpose was, but how they relate to those found all over the world. In 1970, Alexander Tom suggested in a BBC documentary, Cracking the Stone Age Code, okay, similar to my video on my channel, guys, I have a video called the Stone Wall Code, okay, where I go up into Vermont and visit Jimmy the Paleo Mountain Man, okay, and we talk about messages in the stone walls, numbers, effigies, writing of some sort, a language in the stone wall. So again, another affirmation just keeps on getting affirmed and affirmed by other people with their research, their archaeology, etc., etc. So, a lot of people have, criticized me about this, that I'm seeing things and all this kind of stuff. Is that correct? I mean, I don't think I am. There's so many obvious things in the world, walls, and symmetry, etc., etc. So, in any case, it's not such a far-fetched idea. Listen to what this guy said, okay? And he's, mainstream guy. He created diagrams and carried out an analysis of over 50 of the cup and ring markings, from which he determined a length he termed the megalithic inch. David Cowan, author of Ancient Energies of the Earth, believes they were created to manipulate natural telluric currents, to enhance fertility and link one cup mark site up with another. Whatever their purpose, the cup and ring markings are one of the many mysteries of stone circles. And whenever people say stuff like this, I don't know why they just don't add after this, and why you did it, and I know I would, because that's the way my mind works. Why not all that stuff simultaneously? Okay? It's not one thing or another, black and white, maybe it's all of the above. And I repeat that again and again. Why not? Because we have such examples in our current society. And as Matt from Quantum of Conscious was, actually Clint Steele from Kronos was saying, we've had the same brains as we have as modern human beings for 200,000 years. I mean, you think people could think of a lot of stuff in that time, okay? All different kinds of stuff. Stuff we can only imagine and have hard time imagining. Stone circles of the Bible. The submerged site of Atlit Yam near Haifa in Israel dates to between 6900 and 6300 BC and is the earliest known evidence for an agro-pastoral marine subsistence system on the Levantine coast. A stone semicircle containing 7 half-ton monoliths was discovered at 8 meters to 12 meters deep. The stones have cup marks carved into them and surround a freshwater spring. There is even a potential orientation to the summer solstice and possible alignments to the other stars, but these are yet to be fully researched due to their location underwater. Again, guys, there's so much research that needs, archaeological research that needs to be done underwater. Okay, because that's going to take us farther back than we can on land right now. Okay, so if you want to learn about civilizations in the more distant past, you're going to have to go underwater, because that's where these people lived in the past, no matter what civilization. And even current, today, so more people live by the coast of any given country than they live in the inland and interior areas. Just the way that it is. Okay, and if they were underwater, If they're underwater now and they were free and exposed during the Ice Age, well, then, you know, or before the Ice Age, then we got to go down there and, you know, look at some of this stuff if we want to get a complete picture. Without that picture, it's not complete. And it's not going to be complete for a long time. We have to remind these people, the third-party people, and those archaeologists and anthropologists that are, you know, concrete-headed and granite-headed, that that's the case. We're not going to know what the full picture is. So when they say, well, I got the full picture, no, you don't. You don't have the full picture, and you're not gonna for a very long time, okay? But not if I can help you. Further inland, dating to between 3000 and 4000 BC, is Rujum El Hiri, also known as Gilgal Rephaim, a huge series of concentric circles in the Golan Heights of Israel. It again has an opening in the outer circle that aligns to the summer solstice, as well as a burial chamber in the center with many dolmens in the immediate area. Once again, the tradition of cup marks is present at the site. The cup mark phenomena continues throughout Europe. Some famous examples which are at Clava Cairns, a Bronze Age site in southern Scotland. In the Hebrew Bible, there are 39 mentions of Gilgal, a, quote, circle of standing stones, unquote. In one account, having miraculously crossed the river Jordan, Joshua orders the Israelites to take 12 large stones from the riverbed, one for each tribe, and place them at Gilgal in memory, quote unquote. Gilgal has been identified with the village of Gilgilia, about 8 miles north of Bethel, or what Armenian Stonehenge, I guess 8 miles north, or it would be kilometers. Armenia, they mix that stuff up all the time. Armenian Stonehenge. Armenia is the unlikely location of one of the oldest and most impressive circles, called Zorat's Kara or Karanish by local people, and widely known as Armenian Stonehenge. Karahung has 223 standing stones that vary between 2 feet and 9 feet tall and weigh up to 10 tons. Although no cup marks have been found, 80 stones have circular holes drilled through them. Okay, pay attention to that. 80 stones have circular holes drilled through them, 37 which are still standing. Its name translates as, quote unquote, speaking stones. When the wind blows, it makes a sound when it blows across these circular things. And researchers have noted that the holes create sound when the wind is strong. 17 of the stones align to sunrise or sunset at the solstices and equinoxes, and 14 to lunar extremes. Russian prehistorian Professor Paris Haruni, using telescopic methods and rules of precession, analyzed the prominent hole stone-oriented north that aligns with Deneb, the brightest star of Cygnus, in 5500 BC. Okay, and that's the site from an aerial view there. And here's the site from above. And if you look, there's a lot going on in this area. It's kind of light to see. But you can see this whole area. Here's the site, the henge site. Okay, then you have these other areas. Okay, you have some on the ground stuff too, street view stuff. So this is far away from that, quite a distance from that. You have this henge here. And here's the main henge, I believe. Okay, you can see Hugh doesn't mention this because he's concentrating on the circles, but at this site in Karahunj in Armenia, they found giant tombs, gigantic tombs throughout this area. And here's a section of one of them, I guess, or some sort of construction in there. You can see the stonework in there. All right, so this is at the top in the center of the henge, the main one. And this is what it looks like throughout this area. There's these standing stones everywhere. These henge stones and miles of stone and stonework just everywhere over here. Okay. Here's what some of the pictures from the site looks like. Okay, and you notice the holes in the stones, similar to that of the one in Brazil. Okay, and that's what I was looking into when I ran into Hugh's article here. Okay, a couple of street views for you there. Early circles in Portugal. Near Evora is the 8,000-year-old Cromlech dos Alemães Mandres with its rounded granite stones and nearby dolmens. From this 92-stone circle, the midwinter sun rises above the 8-foot Menhir do Alemães, 1 kilometer to the southeast. Again, some of the stones have cup marks on them. The site was built in several phases, beginning in 6000 BC and continuing up to 4000 BC. So, interesting cup, standing stones, monolith, megaliths, okay? South American circles. The Stonehenge of the Amazon is located on a hilltop near Calçoene, Amapa, Brazil. Here, 127 blocks of granite up to 11 feet tall are spaced at regular intervals around the hill like a crown. The 100-foot circle is thought to have been constructed by the Amapan people between the 1st and 10th century AD. It has a winter solstice sunrise alignment, if you believe that timeline. Silistani, near Lake Titicaca, Peru, is well known for its huge hilltop funerary towers called chulpas. On the plains below are several astronomically aligned stone circles built by the Kola, a pre-Inca culture between 100 AD and 1600 AD. The largest at 34 feet is Intihuatana, which translates as, quote, to moor the sun, unquote. And traditions in the area say that these were astronomical circles. Once again, cup marks have been found here, as well as spiral patterns in the rocks. However, the huge cupules seem to be mortise and tenon joints that link the stones together, although bosses or protrusions are a tradition that is found all over Peru, including at Machu Picchu and Cusco. In fact, cultures such as the ancient Egyptians also have protrusions like this on some of their megalithic structures and pyramids, if that was the Egyptians that did that, or somebody else who's not the Egyptians. Okay, it is one of these circles in Peru. Return to Stonehenge. Further anomalies connect ancient Peruvian sites with Stonehenge. 2 monoliths, one of the massive upright sarcens in the main Stonehenge circle and another fallen one, fashion a particular type of scoop, quote-unquote, scoop mark, as though the stone has been softened and an ice cream scoop has taken some of the stone away. Finally, on the eastern face of the same upright sarsen, a quote-unquote protrusion that is badly weathered is of a similar style to those of South America. Coincidence? Possibly, but it would not surprise me if we are looking at ancient cultures that were connected at some point in prehistory, okay? So I'm not the only crazy one. I'm just plain crazy. Okay, so there's the stone, okay, from Stonehenge with the scoop marks, and here's one from Ollantaytambo with similar scoop marks, okay, so he's drawing that similarity, and it's a reasonable, observation, it's a reasonable hypothesis. Coming full circle, it goes without saying that these direct similarities between the ancient stone circle sites are worthy of further investigation. With so few of them left to study and so few written records of them, it is only the big unmovable stones and the way they have been placed in relation to their respective landscapes that could hold the key to understanding our prehistoric ancestors. The power of ancients has come full circles. The prehistoric stone circles represent a golden age of astronomy, mystery, and technological prowess. And with the current wave of megalithomania sweeping the planet, no doubt more will be built. leaving archaeologists and antiquarians of the future as baffled as we are now. Okay? So, great article by Hugh Newman. I thought he brought up a number of very interesting things. The cupules, the scoop marks, the similarities, etc., all kinds of things that I've been thinking about. And as I said, I didn't see this article until I got through a number of articles on my own research, okay, about this Stonehenge found in the Amazon rainforest there. And again, like I said, he didn't mention a number of things, okay? And here's one of them, okay? Near that megalithic, Stonehenge site, you have also these earthworks, similar to that as Stonehenge in UK and all these other henges around the world. You have these gigantic earthworks along with the stones, okay? And they're just incredibly, interesting and relative, okay? Hundreds of ancient stone structures that look like those at Stonehenge have been discovered in Brazil's Amazon rainforest. Okay, so these huge earthworks, okay? And here's some more, all right? And they're all over the place. So they're saying, they resemble this. In this article, they say that the ones resembling the Stonehenge in Wiltshire in Britain, okay? And then Telegraph actually does a video on it. They have it on YouTube. I'm not going to read this article here, or maybe I will, I don't know, but the findings prove that the rainforest in western Brazilian Amazon is actually much newer than ecologists first thought. Quote, the fact that these sites lay hidden for centuries beneath mature rainforests really challenges the idea that Amazonian forests are, quote unquote, pristine ecosystems, she said. Quote, our evidence that the Amazonian forests have been managed by indigenous peoples long before European contact should not be cited as justification for the destructive, unsustainable land use practice today. Quote, it should instead serve to highlight the ingenuity of past subsistence regimes did not lead to forest degradation and the importance of indigenous knowledge for finding more sustainable land use alternatives, unquote. So here's more of these interesting earthworks around that site, okay? And I'm going to take you above here, okay? And here's the satellite photo of this site, okay, with these megalithic, Brazilian Stonehenge and Amazon Stonehenge. As you can see, throughout the whole entire area here, there's all sorts of things going on, okay? And here's a picture again. And like, as I said, what Hugh Newman missed, as far as I'm concerned, was these holes. The similarity between the Armenian site with the megaliths, with the holes in them, and also at this site in Brazil, you can see these zoomorphic figures not mentioned in his article there. I think that's relevant, okay? Petroglyphs are mentioned at all of these, including in Armenian. You can see some cave painting there. But check this out. That's at this site. This thing, okay? These carved petroglyphs in this stone, okay, that is just fascinating. I mean, it's amazing, and there's no scholarly article on this thing, and it is just covered with stuff, and it's fascinating to look at this thing, the pictures, okay, and the bas relief on this, and what it could possibly say. It's obviously saying something. It's just, I don't think it's just for, fun that they did this, okay? But look at this thing. It's huge, and it's of these petroglyphs, okay? Look at that thing. I mean, it's amazing looking. Just amazing looking. Look what's going on in that thing. And, hardly get mentioned. Most of these things are, you know, travel magazines that feature this thing. But let's look at Carahunch too, because this place also has, okay. And again, you know, Hugh doesn't talk about it in his article. He just talks about the circles, but he doesn't talk about the holes and the similarity between this and the ones in the Brazilian, okay, Stonehenge. He doesn't talk about that at all. I find that, you know, awfully odd that he missed that.